Peggle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ferret 64 podcast with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Oh my gosh, yes, this is the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And actually, we do have more today because I also have my July pickups for gaming from July. So that's pretty exciting. I also have a ton of things to talk about and what I've been playing this past week. We got some showcases to go over. It's going to be a loaded episode. So sit back, relax, and maybe turn on the YouTube version of the podcast or the Spotify version with video, if you didn't know that was a thing, for the first section of the show, which is what have I picked up in July. All right, we got a lot to show off here. I'm going to start off with some miscellaneous things. First up, the first issue of Game Informer under their solo management, their own publishing, is out now with the Borderlands 4 cover story. I've read about halfway through this. I wanted to finish the whole thing by this episode so I could talk about it in detail, but unfortunately I just didn't have time. But I've read through about half of the book now. I'm about halfway through the Borderlands 4 section of the book. Or the magazine, the magazine. And I mean, I gotta say, like, it's been a while since I've had a Game Informer. I originally went away from them because I was not doing the Power Up Rewards, like, paying for that anymore, the premium GameStop membership. And once they took that away, I was like, well, there's no reason to go back, right? But when they announced that they were doing, like, an issue every other month, and it was under their own wing, they weren't, like, they weren't pressured, under pressure from GameStop to put out, like, I just knew I had to get back on it. So, yes, Game Informer, I renewed my subscription, and I'll probably be showing off every single one as I get them. And hopefully, I'm hoping to get this read through. The one thing that they did do that I'm not a huge fan of, and that's also was from back in the day as well, they have, like, these really short, like, 1 or 2 lines for a couple games in here that I feel like do deserve more, like Blueprints and Silent Hill 2 and whatnot. Like, I feel like these deserve more than just a couple sentences. Now, it's possible that they're only doing this because the magazine has been gone for a couple months, and they were like, well, we're going to do big reviews for the big stuff, like Claire Obscure and stuff like that, but we're going to put some short stuff in the back for games that we've missed in the past few months. I get that, and I hope they don't continue to do that with the games that I'm actually interested in hearing more about, like, in terms of reviews. But as of right now, I'm satisfied with the book, with the magazine. If you want to pick up a couple issues, it's not too bad of a price. Also, on the Game Informer website, you can actually sift through the entire catalog of old Game Informer magazines. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's for free. I think you can access that for free, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, pretty cool there. Game Informer, it's back. I also got a really good deal on this next item, and that is the Firewall 0 Hour PlayStation VR AIM controller bundle. You might be asking me, how much did you get this for? I got this for $20 at GameStop. Funny enough, I was just kind of in there randomly, and I saw this on the floor, and I'm like, "Hey, how much is that that Firewall 0 Hour bundle?" And he was like, "Oh, it's $20." It says in the system, and I'm like, $20 for the bundle? And he double checked and he scanned the barcode. He was like, "Yep, $20." And I said, "Okay, sold." This was one of the last items. The AIM controller was one of the last things I needed for my PlayStation 4. Like, collection. So this is pretty much just a collection update. I'm probably never going to open this box. It is a bit dinged up. It was on the I've seen this case on the floor in that GameStop for quite a long time. So I'm probably never going to be opening this, and probably will never use the controller inside. But never say never, I guess. Justin Bieber. But yeah, look, it's a deal that I couldn't pass up. And I said, you know what? I need this controller to complete the collection for the PS4, and with this controller, I pretty much have every accessory that I could ever want. I mean, I'm sure there's like a remote control or whatever that I don't have, but pretty much everything else I have for the PS4, which does pretty much conclude my collecting for the PS4. Plus, you get a physical copy of the Firewall Zero Hour game, which is pretty cool too. I like that they include a physical copy of the game in here. So, yeah, Firewall Zero Hour with aim controller bundle. Good deal. The question is, where do I store it? I don't know. We'll see. We're going to start off with some games that I streamed this past week, so nothing too crazy, but I have been playing a lot of Sonic, not past week, past month. I have, of course, been playing a lot of Sonic games. Here are the physical ones that I have. Shadow X Sonic Generations or Sonic X Shadow Generations. Technically, I bought this last year, but I actually just got around to playing and finishing Shadow Generations. Sonic Unleashed, if you don't recall, I bought this brand new and sealed, so I had to break the seal on it and open it up. You know, I like the game, but it's definitely not great in my opinion. Sonic 06, now there's a great game. There's a great game right there. I really enjoyed this. I was kind of surprised. You can listen to my thoughts in the last episode. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. This is a game that kind of went up in price a lot because they actually delisted a lot of the games that were on this pack, including the game that we played from this pack, which was Sonic 3D Blast, and the PS3 version was excellent for that. And finally, for the games we streamed, I've been using Sonic Origins Plus to stream a lot of the games from our days with Sonic, including Sonic 1, 3D, Sonic CD, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And then also I played a lot of Game Gear games with the Plus option on here. I don't want to open this thing up. It's a bit messy. There's a booklet in here, whatnot, but I don't want to open it up right now because I'm being lazy today. Plus, you've already seen it, so it doesn't even matter. All right, the next set is new games, like brand new games that I bought this past month. Up first is, of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've been talking about this pretty much every week since I got it. The game is in my Switch 2 at the moment. I'm pretty well along through that game. Also, I actually found this at a ma and pa shop when I was on vacation a couple weeks ago. And I was surprised that they had it because this is an exclusive to like VGP and stuff like that. And it was on. They only sold it for like $40. This is a Patapon 1+2 replay. Back when they revealed this, I said I want to buy a physical version of that because this is a re-release of two pretty fun rhythm games. So there you go. I haven't opened the seal on that one yet. Probably won't for a while. This was actually a collection pickup, but it is relatively new. Clair Obscure Expedition 33 on disc physically. I have not opened this one, and I probably won't open this one because this was just to support the developers because I love this game so much. I said, you know what? I'll pay however much to get a physical copy. That way, I'm not just doing the Xbox Game Pass version. I'm actually supporting the developer and getting the physical copy of the disc as well. Which, yeah, good game. Play it. This one is open, but I haven't played it yet, and that is RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business. This just came out, and actually, it didn't just come out. Actually, the physical version just came out. The physical version was delayed like a week. I had to open it up because the CD was so whacked out inside of the case that I could not get it to fish around and lock into place with my little trick that I do. But I am planning on playing this one soon anyway, so, it doesn't really hurt to open this one up. But yeah, RoboCop, Rogue City Unfinished Business. I'll be probably starting that this coming week. Also, whoop-de-doo, it's EA Sports College Football 26. You know my thoughts on this. Check out last episode for the details. And then finally for the new games pickups, this actually is something I forgot that I ordered because it's one of those things you order like a year in advance and it comes out now. But that is the Soul Reaver Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered Collection. This was about, I believe they were selling this for like $50 on Amazon. Brand new, and I believe it has some collector's edition material in there as well. Includes exclusive items, standard physical game, Steelbook, art book, soundtrack, greatest hits. So there you go. So that's a beefy one. I'll probably open this up eventually, but yeah, that I mean, I'm so happy when like a collector like I'm gonna do quotations collector's edition comes out like this where it's not really that much more than a regular game, so I can justify the price of like $50 to $60. And two, it comes with some really cool stuff, especially if you're a fan of the Soul Reaver games. Who could go wrong? I'm running out of room here. Um, but I do have a couple other things that are sealed games that I bought, but they're not new games. So let's go over those here. One one of them is Anthem. I actually had to repurchase this game. It was only $5 on eBay with shipping, and I was like, you know what? I want to play this game, and it's being delisted soon. It's being shut down soon. So now is the time to buy in and play it because everything's gonna be free for you to play. So I am planning on playing this on stream soon. Probably once we are done with the Sonic games, we'll start Anthem. I know everyone's like so excited. Calm yourselves. I also bought Pepper Grinder physically. I played this game on Steam a while back, but the physical version was on sale for like $15. I was like, fuck yeah. That's an Amazon pickup there. This was, I believe, another Amazon pickup for like $10 to $15. Physical version of Super Meat Boy Forever. This is actually a limited run game, but I believe they were partnered with, no, it was Best Buy. I'm sorry, it was Best Buy. They were partnered with Best Buy for physical version of the game, and it was on sale for like $10 to $15. So I decided to pick that up. It's like a runner or something like that, where your Meat Boy is always running. I remember playing a little bit of it on Steam. I wasn't like super crazy about it, but yeah, I mean, good collection update. Something from Limited Run. And then finally, I bought a physical version of Battlefield 2042 sealed. Once again, this was like $5 on Best Buy's website, free shipping. And I said, you know what? Collection update. Battlefield. The Battlefield game that I needed in my collection. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say Battlefield 2042, if you haven't played it since its launch, it's gotten much better. I know that the new game is coming out, and I'll talk about that. Don't you worry. But this is not a bad first-person shooter. It's not great, but it's not bad. And I enjoyed it when I played it last year. Yeah, I'll talk more in depth about that. But yeah, decided to get a physical version of that for the collection. One more stack of games to go here. First up, we have Carnival Games on the DS. I'm sure you can kind of see that. Carnival Games on the DS. This was actually a freebie thrown in by that mom and pop store that I was talking about. There was no price tag on it, and I brought it up, and they were like, "Yeah, just have it." I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to complain." No case though, unfortunately. I also got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is the DS version, Nintendo DS version. The reason why I got this is because I had this back in the day, and it was actually pretty good. I mean, it was a little bit different from the main game, but that's kind of what you expect from this. And then, someone's trying to collect all the games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Mobilize. This is actually the sequel to the Modern Warfare that's on the DS. And it's actually a different campaign than the Modern Warfare 2 that you know and love. So I think that's going to be a pretty cool playthrough Nintendo DS game there. I have some 3DS games. I'll be talking about this one on the episode that I'm recording this for. Super Mario 3D Land. This was actually relatively cheap. I was actually surprised because a lot of times Mario games just kind of stay pretty pricey, but this one was actually not too bad. So Super Mario 3D Land. And then also I got a game called... The case is a little dirty. I apologize. Steel Diver. I got to clean up the case a little bit. Steel Diver. This is one of the first games that came out for the DS, and I was like, I haven't played a submarine game. Like I know there's like those submarine simulators on like Steam and stuff like that. Never got around to playing them. This one is, I believe, this one's actually a Nintendo game. Yeah, it's actually published and made by Nintendo. So yeah, Steel Diver. There you go. Playable in 2D and 3D modes. And then finally for the 3DS games, I got a game called Hey Pikmin. Hey Pikmin! This is one of the Pikmin games that I've never played, of course. A lot of them I haven't played, honestly. Well, maybe not a lot of them. I haven't played the second game and this one. I also really haven't played Blooming, but whatever. Hey Pikmin on the 3DS. Excited to try that out eventually. Next up, we have the Devil May Cry HD collection on the PS4. Physically, this one comes with Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. It actually has one less game than the PS3 collection that I bought, if you recall, a couple, I don't know if that was a couple months ago or whatnot. But this one does not include 4, which is very strange. But yeah, this was a HD collection, Devil May Cry HD collection. As you know, I've been trying to bolster my roster of Metal Gear Solid games, and this one was actually a pickup that I wasn't expecting to get for so cheap. And that is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker HD Edition. This is actually a Japanese version of the game, and you can actually only get it physically in Japan. It's all in Japanese. That's because this game released on the PlayStation Portable, the PSP. So this actually will not work in my American PS3, but I just wanted to get this because it was relatively cheap, and I got the Crash Bandicoot Japanese version for pretty cheap, and I went on the same seller's website, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we have Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker on the PS3, $20." I was like, "Excuse me?" So yeah, I picked that up because that's gonna look pretty good on the shelf next to all my other Metal Gear Solid games. Almost done with this collection, actually. I believe I just need to buy the Metal Gear Survivor game, and I believe I need to rebuy Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. I think I don't have that one physically, but yeah, there you go. Pretty cool. This game, I need to take off some stickers here. I'm probably not going to take off the Blockbuster sticker, though, but this is MotorStorm. I have the other games for PlayStation 3, but I did not have not the OG, but the, I guess the reboot of the series, because there was a PSP game, and I believe some PS2 games. But yeah, MotorStorm. Like I said, the case is a little, it got some stickers on there. I don't think I'm going to take off the Blockbuster one, though. That's kind of like, that's like an artifact, you know what I'm talking about? So yeah, MotorStorm. This is a game that I talked about in the last episode of the podcast called Project Cars 3. This is being delisted. I decided to buy this one before it was officially delisted, just in case it went up in price. I don't think this one is going to, but I was able to buy it for like $4 on eBay. I wanted to buy a copy of John Wick's Hex, and there was a $20 brand new sealed copy physically, and that sold the day that it went. That was delisted, and now copies of John Wick Hex are going for like hundreds of dollars. So I wanted to jump on this one early, just in case. I don't think it's going to be one of those games that goes up in price, but Project Cars 3 being delisted soon. R.I.P. King. I also picked up a physical copy of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 because the remaster made me really want to play the original version of the game. Even though I think the remaster or remake is fine, nothing beats the original version of this game because the original version obviously is a bit goated with its open world mechanics. But yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, Tony Hawk on the front, of course, classic. This was a game that my other half picked out. That is Ford versus Chevy. This was like $3. You know, can't go wrong. Just like one of those little like pooped out games. Ford versus Chevy. There we go. Funny little game. And there's also another one that my other half picked out. The Haunted Mansion on PS2. Have no clue what this is going to be about or how this is going to play, but I believe this is based off of the Eddie Murphy movie, if I'm not mistaken. Unlock the secrets of the Haunted Mansion. Maybe it's like Luigi's Mansion. Speaking of Luigi, well, not really. Speaking of Nintendo, I got some Wii U games here. So as I was talking about in the last time I did this, I've been trying to get all the Arkham games and variants, and Batman Arkham Origins was one of the last ones that I needed to pick up to have all the unique versions of games. Once again, I'm not sure if this one's truly unique, but I feel like there's got to be some unique quality since it does have the Wii U gamepad to use. So just needed to pick that up. That was, not too bad. This next one is actually one of the more expensive games on the Wii U, and I found it for a pretty decent price, like $25, and that is Paper Mario Color Splash. This and the Mario Party games are some of the highest selling Paper Mario games. I do need to get the manual for this, but I mean that's no problem. Just having the game itself is good, and the case itself is good enough for me right now. And finally, one last Wii U game. This one actually got sealed. That is the Wonderful 101. And they were selling this for about $15 sealed. I was very surprised. And if you don't know, the Wonderful 101, it was a Wii U exclusive until they remastered it, of course. But this is the original version, which probably is why it's not super expensive. It probably used to be expensive before they did that. So there we go. Wonderful 101 caps off this episode of What Have I Picked Up This Past Week. Let's move on to What Have I Been Playing This Past Week. Okay, I was going to start with some larger games, some like AAA or whatever games, but I decided, you know what, I haven't really given enough love to the indie scene recently. There's not been a lot of indie games that have been clicking with me personally this year, which is unfortunate because, you know, I'm a big proponent for indie games. A lot of indie games wind up on my top 10 lists for each year, but this year has been very heavily AAA contended, and that's not the norm for me, and I'm a bit feeling a bit weird about not talking about as many indie games. So today I want to spread some love and start with the indie games today, and these are 3 indie games that I feel like you should play. We're going to start off with a game called Time Flies. This is a game that I've been following for about 2 years now. It finally came out. This is a MS Paint developed game. They made all of the scenes for the game inside of Microsoft Paint, which adds a very interesting element to the game, being all like this hand-drawn, like old school looking kind of aesthetic in there. And you are a fly that only has a limited amount of time to do their bucket list. So you choose where you are from. It'll default to your region. So what they did is they actually got the World Health Organization's list of how long people are expected to live in each country. And I think the United States, the expected life expectancy is like 68.9 or something like that. But the highest one is, I think, Japan with 85.4 years, which is pretty long, especially for this game because every second counts here. But essentially, yeah, you're a little fly and you choose your country of origin, which is how many seconds you have to live. So you choose America, you have 68.9 seconds to live. There are ways to extend that time, of course, during the level, but that's going to be the basis there. And you start off in this room, and you start the fly, and you can go anywhere you want inside of this in this play space. And it's all 2D, right? So it's not like a 3D adventure like Mr. Mosquito or something like that. It's very much like, okay, you're gonna fly across the screen and interact with something, and then move on. A lot of times, interacting with something will end up being your downfall. You'll die too early. Pretty much right away, there is a fly trap like up on the ceiling, one of those sticky fly traps, and you can just kind of fly right into it, get your first achievement, die. There's also like if you fall into a liquid, or if you go into a light bulb or something like that, you can get electric shock. There's all different ways that you can die in this game, but the main point of the game is, 1, to stay alive for as long as you can, while 2, completing everything on your bucket list. And the bucket list is pretty fun, and I recommend going into this game not looking anything up, because I think that's going to be the true like crux of the experience, is trying to figure out what all the things on the bucket list entail. Sometimes you'll stumble upon something, sometimes it'll be a bit more obvious, other times it'll be a bit more hidden, but in the end, it's a lot of fun to fly through these levels and figure out what you need to do to check off things from the bucket list, because a lot of times it'll be like, go around the world, and it sounds like a daunting task, but actually it's just you land on a globe and you walk on it and it spins it, and that's walking around the world. Or there's also another one for getting rich. So it's like, well, how do you get rich as a fly? Well, you fly into like this disco ball, and there's a bunch of coins in there, and that's like getting rich. Um, so I think that there's a lot of imagination and a lot of like fun quirky things inside this game. Like it uses humor very well. It's obviously a bit more of like a dark humor at times because you are a fly and you are dying over and over again if you're not sure what to do, right? And a lot of times I would simply die just because I'm just exploring around the area. Like there's a lot of like little fun nooks and crannies to get into, and there's also some collectibles to find as well. And it's a lot of fun to just kind of explore these like little hand drawn areas and see what you can do, or just mess around with something for a while. Now, if there are times where the camera will zoom in on something like a guitar or the disco ball that I was talking about. When you're in those zoomed in moments and you can interact with the item, like strumming the guitar strings, this will actually pause your life timer, so you can stay in that area for as long as you want and mess around with what the game has to offer. There's another part with a piano, and you can actually form chords if you have enough things pressing the buttons. I'm not going to go into too much into detail, but you can kind of mess around with that for as long as you want to because you're zoomed in on there and you are essentially um, just you have unlimited life for that short amount of time while you're doing the bucket list item. And some people might say like, "Oh, doesn't that go against the idea of like, only having 64 seconds to live and doing everything you can in that 64 seconds?" Sure, but it's also like cool to actually sit on something and not feel pressured to do something super fast. Like there's a section where you're on like a shag rug, and you can just kind of like walk across the shag rug, and it will actually make the little rug pieces stay down. And it's fun to just kind of walk around in there and climb around and just maybe make a picture with yourself. There's another one that's painting. You spill a paint bucket and you fly across the canvas and you actually can make some art too, which is fun. There's other times where you're playing like a mini game. There's actually a couple, or at least two little mini games inside of the game itself. They're not like super complicated, but they're fun, and you get the pause on your timer as well when you're doing those. It's nice. Can't really complain about that. So I also think like the minimalistic qualities of this game really lends itself to it. It's not going for the flashiest graphics or the craziest sound effects or whatever. The game is pretty much just a black and white screen with your little fly guy on there buzzing around. You hear the buzzing of the fly constantly, and there's some music here or there. But for the most part, it's a very minimalistic kind of game, and it doesn't take itself super seriously. It is a bit short, but I think it's priced pretty fairly at about I think it's like $15, not too bad at all, and I think it's totally worth it. There's really nothing that I can say that's negative about this game. Like I think that it's got a fun premise to it. It's got so much charm and love put into every single corner, and I just love the aesthetics of it as well. Like just the paint, the MS Paint style aesthetic is just so fun to just mess around in. And like I said, there's a lot of like little Easter eggs and things that you can do in the game. There's puzzle pieces to find, which take you into some goofy places. Of course, the main bucket list objectives also take you to some goofy places as well. But there's just a lot of cool, fun things to do inside this game, which is why I give it the two thumbs up treatment. In the end, even though I mean it took me like 3 hours to play through and 100% it, and if I 100% a game, there's something there that I really like. I'm not gonna 100% a game that I'm not enjoying, but I decided the 100% time flies because it was just a really fun, chill experience. The achievements didn't seem that bad to get. I mean, honestly, I didn't even have to look any of them up. I just scrolled through the achievement list and was like, okay, I know kind of where that is, or I can kind of comb these areas around. The hardest thing to find was the puzzle pieces at times, but it's just because a lot of them are hidden. Like you go, there's like a small hole in the wall, and you go through that hole and you find a puzzle piece, or there's a hole in the floorboard that doesn't look obvious because it's just kind of blending in. Like that also it just adds to the replayability of the game, I guess. But yeah, I just had a super fun time with it. At the end of the game, like once you roll credits, there is something pretty fun there that they want you to do, and I went ahead and did that. and we'll see what happens with that. I don't want to reveal what it is because I feel like it's a pretty special thing that they decide to do at the very end of the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, look, I have really nothing bad to say about the game. Anything that I would have to say that's negative is non-existent. I don't have any negatives for this game. I think it's a very good, very fun time. It's a quick playthrough if you're looking for something like that, but you can also extend that playthrough by finding every nook and cranny and doing everything that the game has to offer. And if you like what you've heard, I would suggest checking it out. Time flies. I gave it a 5 out of 5, ladies and gentlemen. Another indie game that I've been playing this past week is called Earthion. I actually talked about this game I think last week, and I kind of forgot that it was coming out. I added it to my wish list, and I kind of forgot it was coming out. And boom, there it was. It was here. Earthion is a side-scrolling classic shmup, very much inspired by like the Genesis era of graphics. Pixel artwork abound. Look, if you like shmups, listen up because this is a very good shmup. It has beautiful pixel artwork and an amazing soundtrack. The level design is pretty cool. There's some pretty good boss fights in there as well. But I think the main thing that you're going to come to this game for is the killer soundtrack and the sublime pixel artwork. There are some backgrounds that this game has that are, I mean, hang it up in the Louvre. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so good. Like, I just got done talking about Time Flies, which has like a minimalist aesthetic. Earthion is there to show its stuff off. It's strutting its stuff and it's saying, "Look at this pixel artwork. Isn't this pixel artwork beautiful?" And you're sitting there going, "Yes, yes, it is." Nodding along, going, "Yes, it's very beautiful." And isn't this music slapping? Yes, the music is very, very good. It's also got a bit of a unique weapon system. You can hold 2 special weapons at a time and switch between them as much as you want. You can also recharge your weapon by collecting green gems. But these green gems are not just for your special weapon. They actually level up your main weapon as well. And if you get hit, you actually lose your main weapon. So you can go from level 4 main weapon to a level 1 main weapon if you get hit enough, which I think is pretty cool. You can recharge it by collecting more gems, of course, but I think that's a pretty cool system. I don't really know of any other games that do a system like that. On top of that, of course, you have your shields, which when you get hit, your shields also take damage, and if they go down to 0, you die. But those work kind of in tandem together, where the shields recharge gradually themselves, or you can get like a refill pickup to refill them instantly, but they do charge themselves, but you do need to pick up the gems for leveling back up your gun. And I think that system is pretty good. I think it doesn't make it detrimental to take a hit here or there, because the shields do recharge. It's still tough at times. Like, there's still a lot of stuff going on, a lot of like tight windows to go through and stuff like that. So there are times where you will die. I mean, I died quite a lot. I think I died like 6 or so times during my playthrough on the normal difficulty. It's a pretty challenging game at times. But with the shield recharging mechanic, it doesn't make the game super difficult, like overly difficult that it's frustrating to get to. There's so many shmups out there that it's a one-hit kill or whatever, and that just is a bit more annoying because of the fact that it's a shmup and there's so much going on the screen. And I feel like if this game was a one-hit kill scenario for the ship, I would have been pretty over it by the time that the game was done. But I was very happy with my playthrough of the game. There was one level in particular that I really didn't like. It's this level where you're going through like a kind of organic looking tunnel, and there's like it was just a lot of stuff going on, and it was a very small passageway that we were going through, and I died. I think 3 out of the 6 times I died was in that level, and I was just kind of getting a little bit frustrated with that level because it was like this was just such a hike in difficulty, and then the next level went back down to being like relatively easy. Well, I guess not easy, but like a normal difficulty. So I was like, yeah, I mean, this level was kind of an outlier. I think the game is a little short. It only has 8 stages, but they're 8 action-packed stages. Like, they really take you on a journey. And once again, that pixel artwork really ups the ante here, with how the game, just the overall presentation feels, right? So there's a couple levels that are more of your basic, like, okay, you're in space and you're shooting spaceships, but there's other levels where it's like, okay, this one you're actually going down into a tunnel, or this one you are going through a spaceship that has moving doorways and stuff like. There's a couple different level designs in there that I thought were very cool, very interesting. And then of course it all ends with like a multi-tiered boss fight, which I thought was sublime. It was like a really good ending for the game. And of course they reveal that the pilot is a waifu with like teal bluish hair. So there's a reason to get to the end of this one, folks. But yeah, I thought that it was a really fun playthrough. It just blew me away with its pixel artwork and soundtrack. Do I wish the game was a little bit longer? Yeah. Do I wish that there was that level in there was either taken out of the game or redone a little bit? Yes. But in general, I found this to be a very enjoyable shmup, and I would gladly play through it again in the future. So I gave Earthion a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a very good experience. Up next, I finished Wheel World this past week. I talked about it a bit last week, and I thought it was a pretty cool little biking game. And I still think that. You bike around, you race other bikers, and you try and get the pieces back to the ultimate bike. And then once you do that, you go into like this new area that kind of reminded me a bit of like Jet Set Radio or Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and it's like kind of design. It's like kind of dystopian, futuristic with like a lot of cars and stuff. But that's besides the point. Yeah, I felt like the game was designed pretty well. I enjoyed my time while playing it. I think it does get a bit monotonous after a while, simply because it is a lot of the same thing, racing around on the bike. And I was customizing my bike around and flipping it around a lot. But by the end of the game, I felt like, yeah, it's overstaying its welcome a little bit, or maybe I was hoping for them to do more with this bike mechanic, because as it stands, like, there's a lot of cool things in here: changing your chains, using your boost effectively, collecting the letters during the races. You have to collect KAT for the character's name, which I thought was a fun little mechanic because it kind of took you off the beaten trail sometimes, or got you to a place that you wouldn't have gone otherwise. There's lots of fun things in the open world, like collecting more bike parts and racing random bikers around the area. I thought all that was well and good, but once I got to like the fourth section of the game, right before going to the last section of the game, I was kind of burnt out on it a little bit. I felt like the game needed to do more to change up this formula, because as it stands, it's a good idea, and I think it's executed very well, but I was hoping for them to elevate the experience, add in something different, add in tricks or wheelies or some other thing besides from just boosting and whatever. I designed my bike around a bit of like a drifting style, and that was so much fun, but it wasn't really built into the game. So maybe having like some sort of drifting feature in there when using specific tires or something like that could have been a cool idea. But as it stands, it was kind of like drifting, but it wasn't. I wasn't really drifting. It was just kind of like a more of a, I don't know. I was using like the right tires for gravel, and it would cause you to kind of skid a little bit when you're on asphalt. But that's besides the point. I think that the customization of the bike was top tier. There was a lot of parts that you could find that really changed up how the bike operated, how it worked. Like I said, there's switching chains in there. There was some that you had like 4 different chains that you could switch between, and that was really cool. Really got you the top speeds. Obviously there's a bunch of different like mechanics in there in terms of like, okay, so you can have good speed, you can have good braking, you have good turning, you have like et cetera, and you kind of put on the parts that you want to improve in your bicycle. And yeah, I mean, I thought the story was fine. It's just one of those games where the story is kind of like, it's there, but it's not like super, I don't know, it's just like super bombastic, I guess I could say. Like, I felt like the ending sequence of the game was well worth the wait, like getting through all the other stuff. I thought the true ending of the game was pretty cool. But it's just some of that journey getting there was it just got a bit monotonous. I felt like it was starting to become a bit of a bore. But it wasn't like, but I wouldn't say that it was like so boring that I wouldn't want to keep playing it. I just felt like maybe they could have done something to spice this up. Not just have like a more challenging course, but add more mechanics in there to spice things up as you went through the game instead of it just kind of being like, here's the mechanics and go for it. So yeah, Wheel World, I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was good. I enjoyed my time with it, but it did, it did start to get a bit monotonous here and there, and I felt like they really could have used some more mechanics in there to spice it up as you went on. But as it stands, the different environments you bike through and the different courses that you do, were all fun. We're all fun and good, and I enjoyed that part of the game as well. All right. I'm not sure if this game actually counts as a indie game, but we've been playing Killing Floor 3 since last week. I actually forgot to talk about this last week, so I apologize about that. But Killing Floor 3, it came out, and the reviews were mixed on Steam. And there was a lot of people trying to compare this game to not Nazi zombies, but the zombies mode in Call of Duty. And to me, a person who's played the other two Killing Floor games, I've never thought of these games as Call of Duty Zombies. They've never been similar at all. Even though like there's a similar style of like, oh, just fighting waves and hordes of enemies, there is a lot different going on here. And to start it off, enemies will spawn from anywhere. That was actually one of the main criticisms from one person on Steam was enemies just pop in right behind you. It's like, well, technically they're not popping in; they are coming in through the walls and stuff. But they can pretty much spawn anywhere, and that's been a thing in every single Killing Floor game. There's not just like a single window that you're looking at that you need to shoot at or whatever. And they're kind of doing that with Black Ops 6's zombies, right? The enemies, the zombies come out of the walls and stuff. So it's really not that big of a departure from Killing Floor to Black Ops 6. But for some reason, that was like a sticking point for someone on Steam where they're like, yeah, I'm giving this a negative review because the enemies are just everywhere. It's like, it is a wave defense horde mode game. Like, it's not going to be like, here's a straight hallway, shoot, aim and shoot. Like, I feel like the extra challenge of Killing Floor games has always been the fact that these enemies come from everywhere. They're not just coming from one way or from specific places. They're coming from everywhere. And that's the thing that I also really enjoy about Killing Floor 3 is the fact that they kept with that. The enemies just kind of pour out from every direction, and they will jump scare you, quote unquote. You go around a corner, there's a big bloater guy, or you look down a hallway and there's just like three like those enemies that shoot fireballs at you. They're just running towards you. It's like those moments are intense and they are really cool. I really like those moments. So haters beware, because I'm about to praise Killing Floor 3 like no other. Now, the one thing that I will say is a negative in the game. There's actually two things that I would say are negatives right now for me personally. One is this like hub area that they give you. There's all these terminals and to go to and all these different things. And when you go through the tutorial, they're like, oh yeah, go to this terminal for your armory, go to this terminal to test out your weapons, go to this one to upgrade your perks, go to this one to get extras for your perks, etc., etc. But all you need to do is press like the pause button and you can get to all the terminals without actually going to them physically. And I just felt like, yeah, we didn't really need this like open area, like meeting area, war room type thing, because you could just press pause and do everything you need to from the pause menu without going to each station. Is it cool to have a physical thing you can go to and be like, I want to upgrade my weapon? Sure. Is it needed? I don't think so. I really think they could have just gone with a menu system, crossed out the entirety of that like staging area and VTOL ride. Like I feel like they missed the mark with that one. I really do. And there's not a lot of weapons in the game. There's like 4 weapons per class, and of course you can customize them as you get like special items from enemy drops and shooting out cameras and stuff like that in the level. But I just feel like they definitely needed to up the amount of weapons in the game, and maybe they'll add them through free updates. I don't know. But right now there's only like 4 weapons per character, and usually at least one of those weapons is really not worth using. So in the end, it's like kind of like 3 weapons to use. And it's a bit disappointing. Like I think they leaned heavily on the customization element, so you can customize your gun, add all these different attachments to it, extra mags, or I'm sorry, extended mags, and laser sights, and et cetera, et cetera. You can customize your weapon to your heart's content, but I feel like the lack of variety in weapons is a bit just a bit disappointing in my opinion. Do I like the customization? Yes, I do. Would I rather have more guns over customization? Yes, I think so. Also, they did away with the whole like buy the weapon again to level up your weapon. They did away with that. That was a big thing from Killing Floor 2, which I don't mind per se, but it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I guess you really didn't need to take that out of there, but whatever. But I mean, everything else about the game has been really fun, though. I mean, there's a bit of a story going on. It's not like super important, but it's there. I think the main thing that's a main plus about the game is there are a lot of maps, and there's a lot of maps on the base mode of the game. There's a lot of variety in enemies, some new stuff in there, some old stuff in there redone. So that's good. Not every wave is like the same. There's like mutations that can happen during your playthrough, so you can get more screamers, or you can get more bloaters, or the enemies will have like bleed damage to them or something like that. So there's a lot of like weird things that can happen during the game, which I think was also in Killing Floor 2 as well. The co-op element in the game is really cool. I like playing with my friends, which is a big plus. Killing Floor 2, I spent a lot of time playing by myself, which, I mean, I guess I didn't have to play it that way, but that's kind of how it ended up being at the end of the day. But Killing Floor 3, I think they really focused on the multiplayer experience. The new bosses for the end of the levels, I like the three that they've designed. One of them is definitely more tough than the other two, but it's still a fun time to fight them. They're a bit challenging. They're a bit tanky, of course, but in general, that's a plus for me. Is like the new bosses that they've added to the game. Also, the classes in the game, the perks, they're called perks. The perks in the game are pretty fun to use. Now, I don't think these are going to be like revolutionary or anything like that, but I think I feel like each class has a very specific thing that they are built for the waves, for the levels that you do, and each one kind of has their place on the grand scheme of these things. I believe you can have up to 6 people in your squad, and there's 6 perks. Of course, you can double up on things. That's no problem. And you can also buy whatever weapon you want for the perk that you're using, so you don't have to stay inside of your perk's gun class. But I think you do get more XP for your class by using their weapons and stuff like that. One of my favorite classes is this like ninja class. It's all melee based. He has like a parry move. He has all these like powerful swords and stuff like that. I found him to be the most fun in the game, which is saying something because I find a lot of the other perks to be very fun too. My second favorite perk is the firebug. It's always been one of my favorite classes. They have flamethrowers and grenade launchers and stuff like that. I feel like they have a very strong repertoire in there. And also they have like a fire grenade, Molotov, and a area of effect fire thing for their special. The assault class is pretty cool. A lot of assault rifles, of course, but they also have a little drone that they can pull out to auto-target enemies, which I found very nifty, very fun. The engineer class is all about shotguns and using their little gadgets to open up chests, or use a zip line, make a zip line usable, or turn on a automatic turn or something like that. So they're a very useful class. Also, the sharpshooter class is in there. It's probably my least favorite class because I feel like the game wasn't really designed around sniping. I was trying to use the class, and I ended up just defaulting to like a 3-burst weapon that was in their weapon category because there were just so many enemies and they got so close to you so fast. It just felt like sniping was out of the question for the most part. So that was unfortunate. Probably the one perk that I will not use that much at all. But yeah, I mean, I like all the other perks. I think they all did, have a reason to be there. They all are pretty fun to use. Like even the sniper class can be fun if you're a person who maybe would like to try that out. But for me personally, it just didn't really mesh with me personally. But yeah, that ninja class is my favorite, and it's probably one that I'll be using quite a lot throughout our playthrough. So yeah, I mean, Killing Floor 3, I don't know why it's getting such a mixed reception. I feel like it's a really good Killing Floor game. Is it the best Killing Floor game? I don't think so. I think Killing Floor 2 is a little bit better right now. But there is something to be said about the graphics upgrade, the enemy design upgrade, the new perks, the weapons. Like, even though there's not that many, they are still cool weapons to use. They still have the animations that you can do when you have a full magazine. You can press the reload button, and they'll do like a little animation of them inspecting the gun. And I always find that very charming. They've had that for quite some time in the Killing Floor series, so that's back. I like the enemy designs. I like the special enemy designs. I like the boss designs. I think the bosses are pretty cool. And in general, I like the maps too. Like, there's a good amount of maps to play, spanning across several continents. So that's always a plus to have a good selection of maps as well. And I can definitely see them adding more perks and more weapons in future updates. Hopefully, they'll add them for free. Because there is like a battle pass thing. A lot of the stuff is free on the battle pass, but there are some things you need to pay for. I'm not planning on paying for the battle pass for this one, but the free stuff is always a welcome thing. I don't mind just playing the game and getting some free stuff. I don't care. But I do hope that if they do add more classes and more weapons, they'll be free update instead of a paid update. That would kind of put a damper on my mood for the game a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I would give this game a thumbs up right now. We're not finished with it yet, so I'll probably talk about it some more in the coming weeks. But Killing Floor 3, I think that it's a fairly good entry in the Killing Floor series. And maybe wait for a sale on it if you're kind of unsure about it. But I feel like I'm enjoying it a lot. I've had a big smile on my face while playing it, especially when playing with the melee class. Yeah, I think I'm giving it a thumbs up for right now. I think that it's a fun time, and I'm sure it can only get better as they update it and stuff like that. But I think it's in a good place right now. So I kind of disagree with what a lot of people who are kind of mixed on the game are saying. I actually am enjoying the game quite a lot. So check it out if you so desire. I'm also not sure if Wuchang Fallen Feathers is considered an indie game, but I was playing that, and I do have to admit, I'm not planning on playing any more of it. I've gotten to a point where I'm not having a good time with the game, and it's causing me to lose my patience a bit faster than I normally would with a Souls-like experience. And when that starts to happen, then I know, like, yeah, I probably should put this game down and just let it be. Is it a skill issue? I don't know, maybe. I mean, honestly, I feel like the game design hurts it for me a lot. It's a pretty slow game. I think that's not I don't feel like that's an opinion. I feel like it's a staunch fact. I just feel like the game is slow. Dodging is fast. Sure, like that. Then the quick little dodge move you do, I think that's a cool design to have the dodge move also be what refills your magic meter. I think that's a great idea. But everything else about the game is very slow. When you take a sip from your flask, pretty slow. Equipping fire to your weapon, pretty slow. Getting back up from being knocked down, super slow. Like, even if you press the dodge button while getting up, it still feels slow. Swinging your weapons for attacks. Some of those weapons can be very slow, like the axe and the lance and stuff like that. They can be a little bit slow. There's a lot in this game that I feel like could have been sped up to make it more palatable for at least me. I don't mind a slower Souls-like game. I've played The Surge. I've played all the original Dark Souls games. Those are pretty slow games. But I don't mind that they're slow because the game is built around that. Like they took their time and they took care to make sure that the enemies aren't like super quick and super crazy throughout the entire game, and the bosses aren't like so super fast and super crazy that you won't be able to like get up in a timely manner. Like, sure, are there still moments where it's like I get knocked down, but I get up again, and then they knock me down again, and now I'm dead? Like, there are still moments in like Dark Souls stuff like that where that happens, but I feel like it's less detrimental in those games simply because of the game's design. It's built around this slower move and this slower character. And in Wuchang, I mean, you're playing as this like spry young woman, and she gets up like she has arthritis or something. It's just ridiculous in my opinion. And added on to that, the bosses just don't feel like they're designed around the move set. I got through several bosses. I talked about a couple bosses from in the last time, and I was stuck on this centipede boss that like did corruption damage and whatever. So I decided to change up my tactics for that boss fight. I put on all the stuff that makes you have more resistance to corruption and stuff like that, and I beat the boss in a couple more tries after that. And I felt like, okay, so I had to change around some things, had to change up my strategy a little bit, use a bit more fire than I was using before, but I ended up getting through it, right? I still think it's kind of lame that you get one hit and your corruption meter just goes zing. but whatever. I do find it a bit disgusting that to get the extra corrosion resistance, you need to put on like the skimpy bikini, and you need to put on the clothing that's like just showing the character's chest. Like at the start of the game, I was like, all right, cool, we got like a main lead female character in a Souls-like game. I feel like this is a great idea. They were moderately dressed. To get the resistance for the corruption, you got to wear like the least amount of clothing. And also, there's several outfits in the game that like double the boob jiggle effects, and I just found that a bit disgusting. Like, you have a game, it's kind of a drop in the bucket where it's like, oh yeah, you have a female-led Souls-like game. That's pretty cool. And of course, you can make a female character in Dark Souls and stuff like that, but still, I mean, this is like a pretty big thing. Like I like that they made a female character for this game, but at the end of the day, it just kind of makes me a bit. It's just like, well, why do we have to give her like the most skimpiest outfits for some of these things? Like, why is the boob physics need to be turned up to times 10 with some of these outfits? It just doesn't make sense to me. There's a way to put a female character into these games, and that is with a little bit more respect for for the female character. Like, I'm not a huge stickler for stuff like this. Like, I'm not like a snob or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, women in my game. But I would like, I would like to see more women in gaming, obviously, but I would also like to see more respectful portrayals of a woman. And this game definitely does not do that. I'm waiting for Ghost of Yotai to be like a respectful version of a female character. This one just feels a bit dirty because of the fact that so many of the outfits that you can get, which have good resistances on them, you put those on, and it's like she's wearing nothing. It's kind of like Stellar Blade in that way, where it's like, well, if you want that buff for burn damage, you got to wear this like tight-fitting shirt that has her whole chest showing. It's like, well, why does it have to be that way? Why does it have to be this way? What was I saying? So yeah, I changed around my formula for the centipede fight, and then you go into this next fight, and it's kind of the same vibe where it's like this tree, and it's really weak to fire damage. So I just kind of kept my same thing going, where it's like, okay, I had a lot of corruption resistance or whatever, and then I just used a lot of burn damage attacks and special attacks. And then after that, I was exploring around, and I was having a generally good time exploring the rest of the map that I had. And then I got to the next boss fight, which was a bit of a puzzle to get to. You had to like drain some water or whatnot. And there was also like this another one of those maiden fights in a room next to the boss fight, which I thought that fight was a lot better than the first boss fight of the game. But the next boss was like this fast-hitting, like always moving sword master. And I was about 10 or 15 tries in, and I was like, yeah, I just don't think I'm enjoying the game. Like at that point, I was starting to get frustrated again with the game, and I was like, if it's just gonna be like one step forward, 5 steps back for this game, I just know I'm not gonna finish it, no matter how hard I try and how many times I yell. I'm not gonna finish it. And it was at that point that I decided, you know what, I'm gonna set this game down. I'm not enjoying it. I'm just gonna let it be. Because in general, I think that the game's layout is fine. Like the world feels connected. It's not like one of those fragmented worlds. I feel like the regular enemies in the game do pose some challenge. There's some enemies in there that can pose some challenge. Obviously, the madness meter thing is unique for this game, and I think it actually does elevate the experience a bit by having to fight a madness version of yourself to get your souls back after the madness meter goes to a certain point. But I also don't like the fact that the madness version of yourself is also in like the super skimpy outfit, just revealing her whole chest and ass to you the whole time. I mean, maybe it's part of the challenge to, try not to jerk off challenge while playing the game, I guess. I don't know. But that's not what I'm looking for in my Souls-like games. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is also what I said last week, where it's like we have a bit of an oversaturation in the Souls-like market right now, where every game is trying to be the next iteration of a Souls-like game. And Wuchang Fallen Feathers takes a lot of stuff from other games like Wuchang and Dark Souls and whatever. It just throws all these mechanics into the game and goes, it should be pretty good, right? But it just doesn't work as well, in my opinion. It just doesn't really feel that great. I enjoyed using the axe and the sword and the spear, but it was just nothing was really feeling that great to me. And by the time that I got to the sword master fight, I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I'm good. And I wasn't really enjoying the game up until that point. Like I was playing the game and I felt like the open world was done well, but I just wasn't really feeling it. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own opinions. And my opinion right now is that I don't like Wuchang Fallen Feathers, and I'm probably never going to finish it because it's just not my cup of tea right now. If you're enjoying it, I'm happy for you. I'm glad. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below or even in my Discord. But for me personally, I'm just kind of over it. And I will take credit for something, which was the fact that I did say last week that the Souls-like genre is oversaturated at this moment, and this game is a prime example of that. Moist Critical put out a video talking about the oversaturation of the Souls-like market. Once again, I was first. I said that first. I mean, he didn't word it exactly like that, but it's the same idea. It was me. I said that first. I was early on a lot of different things on this podcast so far. You can count them on two hands now. But I was pretty early on the oversaturation of Souls like being the core criticism for Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Just saying, you should definitely listen to me more often because this guy's got good opinions, backed up by major multi-million subscriber channels that after the fact put out their videos. Are they listening to me? Probably not, but it'd be kind of interesting, I suppose. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I've been thinking about that all week ever since I saw that video on my feed. I was like, Moist Critical put out a video talking about practically about the oversaturation of Souls-like games, but I talked about it before him. So there we go. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just kind of done with Wuchang. I'm not gonna rate it or anything like that. Just know that I just really didn't have a good time with it. But maybe you will. It's on Xbox Game Pass. Maybe check it out if you want. If you're a Souls-like fan, maybe check it out. Me personally, though, there's some good ideas in there. Like I said, the dodging to get magic feathers back. Some of the weapons were kind of cool in there, like the whip sword or whatever. There was some interesting like enemy designs. But yeah, I mean, there are some good things, but most of the game I just wasn't really enjoying. So sorry, but it is what it is. Oh boy, I told you guys this one was going to be a long one. Mario Kart World. I finally decided to knock this one out. I've been kind of sitting on it for a couple weeks, trying to find the will to play it while I'm also playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. But this morning, I finally said, you know what? I'm going to do those knockout tours that I haven't done yet, and I'm just going to call it a day. Because as it stands, I think Mario Kart World is a good Mario Kart game. I think that it does a lot of things well. It has great music. It has some really good animations in there. It has some good course design as well. It's obviously got great graphics. You know, I think that's also a very big plus for it. The Knockout Tour mode is a knockout of a mode, especially when you're going online. I feel like that's the most fun I've had with a Mario Kart game in quite some time. Even though I really enjoyed Mario Kart 8 too. It's not like I didn't like that game, but Knockout Tour like really was a spark that got me really excited for this game. Going against AI is not as fun. There's a lot of seriously difficult rubber banding that happens, like Mario Super Circuit style rubber banding. But you know, I think Knockout Tour is great. I think it's the best mode that this game has to offer. Battle mode is fine, and like the regular tour mode is fine. But Knockout Tour is like really where it hits its stride, especially online. But some of the things that I don't like about the game, I think the open world is a lot of missed potential. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are enjoying their time in the open world, and don't get me wrong, I also had some fun in the open world as well, doing some of the P-Switch missions and whatever, but I felt like the map for the open world needed to put some markers on it for like the P-Switches at least. I feel like that is the one thing that this game should have done. Like the question marks or the Peach medallions, sure, I guess we really don't need to know exactly where those are. But the P-Switches, I feel like that would have been a prime thing to put on there. Also, being able to track how many you have of the Peach medallions or the P-Switch buttons to do would have also been great. But I just feel like the open world could have been something more. It really could have. Like I was envisioning like a 2K Lego Drive game, right? Where you have like little missions inside the game that you do, and you do the races inside the game. But that's just not how it was, and I was a bit disappointed with that. And then also, I think the roster of characters, even though the main roster is good, it is like that character selection screen is so unorganized. It is just abysmal to sift through and try and find the character or the costume that you want to use. And I just feel like if you just had a single character icon, almost like the Yoshis from Mario Kart 8, where you clicked on the character and then it gave you all the different color options, like just do that. Click on Yoshi and then see all the costumes, the regular costume and also like the special costumes you get. That's all they needed to do, and I would have been fine with the character roster. But no, they mixed all the characters up. It's almost like they were playing Scrabble, well, no, not Scrabble, Yahtzee, and they were just mixing up the characters and seeing what happened and just laying them out as they were. Because like as it stands, like the pro racer style costumes aren't next to the pro racer style costumes. Same thing with the they have a bunch of like bathing suit styles. It's like none of them are together. It's just so weird. So yeah, they definitely needed to do better with that. I also liked the cart customization from Mario Kart 8 better than having the carts pre-made for you. Now, there are some fun carts that I enjoy using, like the Rob motorcycle or the Bullet Bill car. Like I like those cars, but I would prefer to do like the custom car set from Mario Kart 8. I feel like that was a much better way to do that. It just kind of made your carts feel more special. Um, and I guess like the last thing to say is like the multiplayer mode, just the regular like racing mode. It's just a bit odd that they decided to not include like regular 3 lap tracks. Like you always have to drive to a track and then race around it once. I really just want to do some regular races now and again. And they took that feature out of the game essentially. Even if you pick random, like it doesn't seem to really do what you want. Like just do a 3 track race. It doesn't really seem to do that. And I just feel like that's a huge missed potential there. Like yeah, you can choose like the co-op mode and race with your friends on 3 lap courses. But if you're going online, it's you essentially have to do the courses that are to the other courses. It's just I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I like the idea of like racing to a course and then racing around the track. I think that's a great idea. Make it 3 laps once you get to that racetrack though. Because as it stands, if you like race to Koopa Troopa Beach, that course is so small by the time that you get to that last lap where you loop around it, there's no way you'll be able to catch up to the person in first. Or sometimes there's no way you'll be able to catch up to the first person in first and maybe overtake them in the last segment here. It just can't happen. I've also had multiple moments on Knockout Tour where somehow, some way, the AI gets like a bit ahead of me, and I just can't seem to catch up to them. And the game just keeps giving me bombs and coins. It's like I'm in second place. I should be eating red shells and mushrooms. Like what is happening? Like there are some of these knockout tours that I was doing versus the AI, and it was like I was winning the whole time, and like one blue shell hits me and I'm like I get back like 3 places, and I'm trying to catch up to the AI in first place, but I just can't do it. And we get to the last segment, and of course it's just 1 lap around the track. So I'm just like I need to make sure I get every boost. I need to hit every jump. I need to blah 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 blah, and also hit every item box. But every single item box was giving me freaking bombs, and I'm like, this is not going to help. Like this is a defensive weapon at best, and doesn't have a lot of range to it. So I was stuck. I was in second place, and I couldn't get anywhere on that because it wouldn't give me the items that I could have used to help out with that. It just seemed very sketchy. And when I tried to replay some of these Knockout Tour maps or even the Grand Prix mode, the same AI would be the same amount of distance in front of me. It made me feel like the game was just forcing this thing on me where it's like, okay, this one AI racer is just always going to be 5 miles faster than you. And there's nothing you can do unless you get the right offensive weapons. So I just feel like that rubber banding feature in the game is a bit egregious in my opinion, especially when you're on the 150cc mode and you're doing really well throughout the entire race, and then all of a sudden you know, second and third place, they creep closer and closer to you, and then they hit you with something, and they just zoom past you, and you cannot catch up to them. I feel like it's a bit BS in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, Mario Kart World, I think it's a good Mario Kart game. I've said this before in my original thoughts about the game. It's a good Mario Kart game. I think as a launch title for the Switch 2, I think it's a great launch title for the Switch 2. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that this game has a lot of missed potential and a lot of weird decisions. And that's why, in the end, I gave Mario Kart World a 3.5 out of 5. Still a great game. Not worth $80. Still a great game, though. Enjoyable racing game. But if you're choosing what game to get for your Switch 2, go with Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's going to give you a lot more play time. It's not going to let you roll credits after like an hour of gameplay. And it's also worth the price tag of entry of $70. So that's just my opinion. And finally, for the What I've Been Playing This Past Week segment, Super Mario 3D Land. That's right. I finally decided to pick this game up. After I found my 3DS, I said, you know what? Probably the first game I want to play on this thing, besides from Drake and Josh Talent Show, is Super Mario 3D Land, because that's a game that I've never played. Callus and I had a conversation about it back, I think it was like a year ago now. And we didn't really know where to place it because Callus hadn't played it since like back in the day. And I had never played it. So we didn't really know where to place it. And I don't know where we placed it, but I think it was a relatively good place compared to what I think about the game. Because I think the game is really fun. It's a nice showcase of what the 3DS can do. And in general, it's a fun time. Okay. It does the classic Nintendo thing of having like a bunch of easy levels for like 8 worlds, and then they're like, here's the credits, and here's the actual game. They did it with Mario vs. Donkey Kong. They've done it with so many games in the Switch and before that era. And it's just so funny to me that they just kind of keep doing this thing where it's like, okay, you're rolling credits, but you still have half the game to play. There are 8 more special worlds to do, and even more after that if you so desire. You have to collect all the gold coins to get to the last level of the game. It was worth it because it's like a super cool like Bowser fight. But at the end of the day, I was like, holy shit, why did you roll credits before this entire special world section? Like, the special world section is where the game actually gets challenging and where the game actually becomes the most fun because there's challenge to it. I'm actually losing lives. I'm actually struggling to get gold coins. I'm actually like struggling to get through some levels. The entire first 8 worlds of the game were nothing compared to the special world levels, and that's where the game shines. The rest of the game was fine. Like, I felt like it was pretty fine the whole way through. But those special levels bumped it up, in my opinion, because they were just so much more fun to do because they actually presented something interesting, besides from just the fact that that's a 3D Mario game on the 3DS, right? The power-ups were fine in the game. Like, the boomerang was fun. The Tanuki tail was probably the best thing in there. Fire Flower makes a return and all that. Yeah, I mean, in general, it's like it's kind of a bare bones Mario game when you look at it from the surface. But once you get to those special levels, it becomes a bit more in depth, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed myself personally. I think the levels are a bit short. Even the special levels are short. They just don't have a lot of substance. Like, they have a good idea, and then they just kind of end after a couple minutes of playing. And I was like, I really could use a bit more. Like, these levels are so short. You get all 3 coins so quickly. They just didn't really have a lot of depth to them. And I felt like most of them were just like running a straight line anyway. Like, in all honesty, there were some more interesting levels in there, but a lot of them were kind of samey, where you just kind of like go in a straight line, or you're going a bit of a diagonal line, and you make it to the end. But like I said, in general, I thought it was a really fun time. And if you have a 3DS, it's not really that expensive. I think it was like $15 for me to buy the game. It was really not that bad at all. So I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5. It was pretty fun. I think it controls better than the Mario 64 DS game that came out, which of course it is because you actually have a little bit of a joystick to use. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, it's a fun time. It's honestly probably one of my favorite Mario games. Like, I'm not a big Mario fan, as you have probably guessed from listening to this podcast over the years. I'm not a big fan of his 2D adventures. I like his 3D adventures for the most part, but a lot of things that he does in 3D is kind of annoying in my opinion. To this point, I still think that Bowser's Fury is my favorite 3D Mario game, probably my favorite Mario game in general. But Mario 3D Land kind of comes up close to like where, like Odyssey and Super Mario Wonder come into play. I think it's kind of up there in that echelon for me in terms of like Mario experiences. If we're ranking them by 3D Mario games, it's probably right around where 3D World is. I mean, I would probably put 3D World above this game for sure, but it's still a fun time and I still enjoyed myself. So, what more can you ask for? Super Mario 3D Land, thumbs up. Pretty fun. They need to remake this one for the Switch. See what they can do with that. Yeah, maybe they don't need to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing at this point. All right, let's move on to the next part of the show, which is going to be the conglomeration of all the rest of the stuff we need to talk about. What's in the news? What was announced at that game showcase? And what's coming soon? All right, there was a Nintendo partner showcase this past week. And the leaks, they finally were right. Oh, they finally were right that there was a Nintendo Direct coming. They were finally right. So yeah, Nintendo Partner Showcase. A lot of people said that this could have just been an email or just been a couple of tweets on Twitter. But personally, I mean, I enjoyed the showcase as a whole. Like, there were a couple things that stood out to me, of course. But yeah, I think that in general, like, it was just a fun time. Like, I mean, maybe people expected more because this is the first Direct for the Switch 2 era, But I thought what they showed off was good. I think they had a lot of wide ranging games, a lot of genres in here, a lot of things that multiple people are going to be interested in. They started off the whole show with Monster Hunter Stories 3: Twisted Reflection. This is coming in 2026. I'm not a huge Monster Hunter fan, but I do know that the Monster Hunter Stories games were pretty well received on the Switch. And of course, this is going to be a Switch 2. I believe it's going to be a limited time exclusive for the series on the Switch 2. So it should be pretty cool. You'll be able to raise and train dragons and use them to fight with you. People have described this as Monster Hunter, but Pokemon, kind of. Once again, I'm not a Monster Hunter guy, so take that with a grain of salt, but that's what I've heard this game is like. So if you want to check that out, all the trailers on Nintendo's YouTube channel, of course. Next up, my biggest thing from the show, okay? I know it peaked early for me, but Once Upon a Katamari, a brand new Katamari game coming out in October, I believe. I believe that's what they said, October. Yeah, October 24th. This is probably going to be my most hyped game for the end of the year, next to like Ghost of Yotai. I really love the Katamari series. I've played a fair amount of the games so far, and every single one of them have been very good. The only one I didn't really enjoy as much was that Me and My Katamari game on the PSP, but I thought it was still a good time either way. Like, it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It seems like they made this game in the remaster engine, which I think is good because the remaster engine looks good, plays good. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive or a limited time exclusive, but they did show it off at the Switch event, and I haven't heard about another version of the game for other consoles. I do hope that it comes to PlayStation because I want to get a physical version of this game, and I feel like they'll do a physical version for PlayStation. I don't think they're going to do a physical version for the Switch 2, and if they do, it's going to be a game key card, which that's a curse and a whole nother conversation on its own. Yeah, I mean, look, if you love Katamari games, this looks like it's going to be right in line with everything else we've played. They've also added a new multiplayer mode where you try and make the biggest Katamari while pretty much fighting the other characters on the on the level. You can also customize your prints now, put them in different outfits and whatnot. Also, it has a brand new soundtrack for the game with people who did music for the other games, so you know the vibe is going to be there. Pre-order bonuses. If you pre-order the game, you get 3 custom parts. Oh, there is a physical version of this on the Switch 1. So maybe there's not a Switch 2 version. Maybe it's just a Switch 1 version, maybe a Switch 2 upgrade path. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so the pre-order bonus is going to give you 3 customization parts for the character. You could also what will be available 2 DLC packs, a 60-song track from this past of the series. So you can get 60 songs from the from past games. I'm sorry, my brain is a bit confuzzled today. We were at a medieval fair all day, and it was freaking hot. You also a DLC for 26 extra costume pieces from the past series as well. So that's pretty cool too. So like I said, this will be available October 24th. And yeah, I think that if you if you own any of the re-roll games, you get a free cousin, the Young King. That's pretty cool too. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about this new Katamari game. I hope you are too. This was a big thing for me. I was watching a person who was reviewing the Direct, and they totally they were talking about like the big things. They were like, oh, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and this Chronos game and whatever. And they didn't mention Katamari until they were like in the here's what was announced ho-hum type thing. And I was like, what are you talking about? Ho-hum? This is a new Katamari game. We haven't had a new Katamari game minus the Apple phone game, mobile phone game, since like the PS3. Like, I'm trying to think if there was a PS4 or yeah. They were just the remastered versions of Katamari Damacy, and we love Katamari. So, yeah, we haven't had a new Katamari game since the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era. So, this is a big deal. Like, this is a big deal, and I'm very excited for this. I am very excited for this. I don't care if no one else in the world is excited for this. I will be there day one, and I will love it. Okay? Leave Katamari alone. Well, actually, don't leave it alone. Play it. It's really fun. Anyway, let's get to the real peak of the episode. Just Dance 2026, baby, coming out October 14th. There is a Switch 2 version featuring unforgettable tracks like All Star and APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, Houdini by Dua Lipa, Counting Stars by One Republic, Hung Up by Madonna, and more to be announced. This 2026 version will include 40 new tracks, of course, all choreographed in the Just Dance style. So, not much else to say other than it's another year. It's another Just Dance game. This one has party mode included if you want to check that out. I don't know if this will include any camera antics in it. It doesn't seem to, but I'm sure it'll also be on other platforms as well. But if you are a fan of Just Dance and you've bought every single one since day one, 2026 coming soon in October. As I mentioned before, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is coming to Switch 1 and 2. This is the latest Dragon Ball game. This will be coming to Switch on November 14th. It features the largest roster in franchise history with over 180 playable characters. Players can relive epic moments in episode battle. Also, they can do custom battle as well, where they can change the fate of certain characters. And of course, there's a variety of versus modes as well. I think the game looks fine on the Switch 2. I don't think it looks like crazy good, but it looks good. It looks fine. If you do have the Switch 1 version and you want to play the Switch 2 version, you can transfer over game data like game progress and unlockable characters and items. You will not be able to transfer over battle replays, custom battles, and online battle records for whatever reason, but there you go. Also, there is only going to be a physical version of the Switch 1 version of the game. There will be a digital upgrade for the Switch 2 version, which seems like is what we're going to be getting for a little while here, especially from third-party companies, up until they decide to do more with their Switch cartridges. Next up, they finally announced the Plants vs. Zombies remaster, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. This is a pretty much what you expect, Plants vs. Zombies from the Xbox 360 and phone era. Again, I don't think it looks that much better than the original version. Like, it still looks like a mobile phone game at the end of the day. But I mean, the original Plants vs. Zombies is it's a gaming, like, it's a historic game in the gaming landscape. Like, this is a huge franchise now, and it all started with this Plants vs. Zombies game on mobile, and it also has an Xbox 360 and PS3 version. This is the original version of the game. We haven't seen the original version of the game since like the PS3 era when they did the Garden Warfare series, and they kind of kept that going for 3 games, and now they're finally back to what Plants vs. Zombies used to be, which is a tower defense where you set up your plants and you take out the various zombies. So if you want to check that out, this comes October 23rd, and I believe it's also coming to other platforms as well. But yeah, I think this was a really fun announcement. The trailer for it was goofy. I enjoyed that. There's also a new co-op mode that they added to the HD version of the game, so that might be pretty fun too. And yeah, if you've never played the original version of Plants vs. Zombies, this is a great place to start. If you've only played the Garden Warfare series, like, this is where the series started, and it's peak. What can I say? I'm a Plants vs. Zombies fan, and the original game is peak in my opinion. So if you want to check that out, like I said, that'll be coming in October, on October 23rd. All right, they showed off that EA Sports FC 26 will be coming to the Switch 2 as well. They showed all Switch 2 gameplay, and it looks pretty good. I mean, can't really complain. They talked about how there's smarter movement. I don't really care. But yeah, they're bringing this game to the Switch 2. We will no longer be getting a 2019 enhanced edition or whatever that was back in the day on Switch 1. They're actually doing a full-blown FC game on the Switch 2. I'll just talk about this now. They also are bringing over Madden to the Switch 2, an official Switch 2 port of Madden, which I think is... I mean, if there's anywhere that I'm going to buy Madden on, it'll be on the Switch 2 when the game is like $20 or whatever. I think that'll be such a funny thing to do, because this version of the game, the frame rate is definitely locked at 30 FPS, but I think the game still looks good. Like, for a football game that boasts about its graphics on like all other platforms, like, the game looks good. It's just the frame rate is taking a bit of a dive here, but it's going to include all the modes that they've been talking about. Like I said in my last episode, this is not the year to buy Madden because it's a contract year for Madden. And even though they put a lot of effort into making this year's Madden, like, oh, we added in the snow and we added in all these like new things and blah 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 blah, it all looks good. Don't get me wrong. But this is actually the year to skip out on buying a Madden game, wait for that sale, wait for a price reduction, and then pick it up. Because I feel like Madden 26 will probably be the best Madden we've gotten in the past like several years now. But at the end of the day, you do not want to buy this one because that'll re-up the contract with EA, and between EA and the NFL. And EA is kind of, shit the bed on most Madden games, and now they're shitting the bed on college football games. So it's just a big shit show out there, folks. A big giant toilet full of shit. Anyway, they announced Pac-Man World 2 Repack is coming to both Switch 1 and Switch 2. This is a modernized, remastered, enhanced version of Pac-Man World 2, which is awesome. I was wondering if they were going to do this because the original game, Pac-Man World, got a repack as well, and that was pretty cool. I didn't finish that one, but that was a pretty cool one. So yeah, if you want to check this out, this will be available September 26th. Enhanced visuals, using probably the same engine as the last remaster, which I think ran pretty well. There's also a couple of new features like co-op mode, some mini games as well, and I believe some like special missions to do, along with character customization. Woohoo! So yeah, if you want to check that out, that'll be available September. Pretty cool announcement on that one, and that's also coming to other platforms as well, for sure. They had a little segment about Final Fantasy Tactics. This is the remaster, so Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. I'm not really interested in this, but fans of Final Fantasy Tactics, I'm sure, will be all over this one. They added voice acting to the game. They, of course, updated the graphics and whatnot, added some new character animations and stuff there. But I think the voice acting is like the main big thing about this. No longer just text on the screen. Now you'll actually hear the voice actors do their thing. So that is going to be available on September 30th if you want to check that out. They also announced Persona 3 Reload was coming to the Switch 2 on October 23rd. I believe there is a Switch 1 version of this game, and the regular version of this game is like $20 on Amazon right now if you really want to check it out now. But if you want the Switch 2 version, like I said, that'll be October 23rd. And it looks pretty good. It looks like it's running pretty well on there. I don't think there was any problems that I could see from the trailer. But if you want to check that out, that'll be available soon. A bit of a surprise. They showed off Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I guess we should have known that this was going to be in the showcase simply because it is technically coming from a third party, even though it's a first party IP. I think this game looks pretty good. I have not played any of the other Hyrule Warriors games, even though I own the Hyrule Warriors remaster or whatever for the Switch. I think that, now that I'm a newly formed Warriors fan, I played 2 Warriors games this year so far. Pretty big fan now. I think I'll be checking this one out. I'll be picking this one up, especially if there's a physical version that's actually on the cartridge. I'll definitely be thinking about that. If you don't know what this is, it's a Warriors game through and through where you plow through thousands of enemies. But this one also links to Tears of the Kingdom. This is like a prequel to that, where Age of Calamity was not technically a prequel to Breath of the Wild, and Hyrule Warriors was his own thing. This actually it's actually canon to the Zelda timeline, so that also might be a plus for Legend of Zelda fans. Next up, a Shadow Drop, Chillin' by the Fire. This came out the same day that the Direct was. This is a game that utilizes the camera functionality of the Switch 2. You can plug in a camera and actually chat around a fire with your friends. Now, is this any game? Is this a game to like look at and be like, oh, graphically it looks amazing, or gameplay wise it looks amazing? No, but I do like that they included a game like this, a bit of a smaller indie game, and also included it as a Shadow Drop. I think that's really cool of them to do. So yeah, essentially, there's a lot of mechanics in there about building fires, blowing on your fire, stacking the wood just right, making sure that your wood is not wet, et cetera, et cetera. Lighting off fireworks. You can also light off fireworks, but also the main crux of it is like building this fire and then sitting around the fire with your friends and roasting marshmallows, talking and having a good time. So yeah, if you want to check this out, this is available now. I think it's like $5 or something like that. It's super cheap. Apex Legends is getting a official Switch 2 version. That is coming on August 5th, and it will be free to play, so you can actually play this for free. The game definitely looks upgraded from the Switch 1 version. The Switch 1 version was a bit blurry. It didn't run at a high frame rate, but this one has essentially gone above and beyond to really configure the game for the Switch 2. So, the gameplay looks good, and it will be available August 5th. And also at the same time, the next season of the game will be available called Path or whatever. So that will, there you go. There you go indeed. Another game called Hella is going to be available in 2026. This is a game where you play as a little mouse, a little familiar for a witch, as you go into the wild to try and save that witch. So you'll do various things in an open world-esque kind of way. It's up to 4-player multiplayer co-op, so you can solve puzzles and stuff with your friends. So it looks like a little cute little game where you play as like a little mouse in a big world. Like I said, it's coming 2026. We'll probably hear more about that in a future Nintendo partner showcase. Star Wars Outlaws 2 is coming the 4th of September. The Switch 2 version, it doesn't look bad, and I think that they've improved the game quite a lot since it originally released, so now's the time to kind of check it out if you so desire. I believe this version of the game will include all of the DLC, which is pretty cool too, including the Hondo and Naka stuff that I was talking about last week, which I really want to play because I love Hondo and I love Jim Cummings. But yeah, the Switch 2 version will be available soon. This is a game key cart, so don't get too excited. Even though I feel like they probably could have fit this game onto a 64 gig cartridge, maybe they decided to go with the game key cart just because it is a bit pricey to do the 64 gig cart. Like I said, this is a Nintendo problem, not a publisher problem. Nintendo needs to get their act together and get smaller cartridges available for these publishers. I think that'll be of real help. That'll be really helpful for them. They also revealed that Chronos: The New Dawn will be coming to the Switch 2 as well on the 5th of September. This is actually a pretty big thing because this is a graphically heavy kind of game, and if they're playing a game like this on the Switch 2 and there doesn't really seem to be any performance setbacks or anything like that in the gameplay they showed off, I think this could be a real showcase kind of standout game on the Switch 2, natively on the Switch 2, which could be pretty cool. They did not show off if there was going to be a physical version of the game. I believe it's going to be just a digital only type thing, but September 5th. I've been talking about Chronos for a little while, so I don't think I need to reiterate what it is, but essentially it's a third-person, over-the-shoulder, dark, Dead Space-inspired game where you puzzle solve and shoot mutants. There you go. It's not a Switch Direct without Yakuza Kiwami 2. Well, Yakuza, I should say. So Yakuza Kiwami 2 will be officially coming to the Switch 2. It'll have a Switch 2 version on the 13th of November. The game will now support French, Italian, German, Spanish, Latin American, Brazilian, Portuguese, and Russian for the first time ever in this version. The game originally released on Switch in October of last year. This version is going to feature enhanced graphics and improved frame rate on the Switch 2. So that's coming November 13th. I don't know if there's going to be an upgrade path for this one. I did not see that, but I would gander that there probably is an upgrade path for it. A game called Goodnight Universe. This was a part of the slideshow at the end, like the flashing of all the different things there. I did not know this, but this is actually coming from the same people who published The Walking Dead. So that I guess that doesn't really matter. But essentially you play as like a little baby and you try and, I guess, survive or whatever. There's some sort of like weird thing that goes on and you have like abilities or whatever. Kind of interesting, I suppose. Kind of interesting there. If you want to check that out, that'll be available on November 11th. NBA Bounce is coming to the Switch as well. This is the family-friendly basketball game. I believe it's like a 3v3 basketball game where you play as mascots and as avatars, and you do the basketball thing. You shoot hoops and dunk the ball as your favorite mascot and or generic character. Like I said, that'll be available on the 26th. I think this is woefully overpriced, so I would say wait for a sale on this one. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is getting a new update called Wheat Flower Wonderland. That'll be coming in fall of 2025. If you're a fan of Animal Crossing and or Disney Dreamlight Valley, this is just another one of those kind of cozy kind of games where you have a little village to explore. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. This actually released, did a shadow drop on the same day as the Direct. I believe this. I don't remember seeing that. This might have been the Japanese version. No, it's on Nintendo of America, so I must have just kind of blanked out while they were showing this. But there you go. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven is available right now. Switch 2 version. And there's also, let's see here. There's also an upgrade pack for this game for the Switch 2. So if you already own the game, you can get the upgrade pack for probably like $10 or something like that. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. This is coming the 29th of August. This is a Metroidvania in like this really nice hand-drawn, cel-shaded art style. It's looking pretty good. This is one that I'm very interested in. It has a pretty banging soundtrack. It's also got like a messenger-style like combat and rhythm to it. So there's also a free demo today. You can actually try out the free demo today. Borderlands 4 coming October 3rd. They showed another sizzle reel of this. I mean, look, Borderlands 4 is looking pretty good. I have pretty high hopes for this one. I guess we'll have to wait and see though when it actually comes out. And then there was two more things that they showed off. One of them was called The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. This takes a character, I believe, from Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler and expands on his character, I think. I'm not sure though. It's in the HD 2D style that you know from the Octopath Traveler games. But this one has a more action-packed style for the combat. So instead of it being turn-based, it's actually, you're actually fighting the enemies in real time, which is a bit of a different thing for these HD 2D games. This one looks, I mean, the pixel art work and stuff like that looks really good. I mean, Square Enix has really honed in on the craft for this, and I think there's a pretty fun idea for the next game here in the 2 way. I don't know. So that was pretty big. Yeah, that was pretty big. That is coming 2026. And then they also revealed that Octopath Traveler 0 is coming the 4th of December this year. Start from 0 and discover the newest entry in the Octopath Traveler series. Experience the story of restoration and retribution over the Divine Rings, an epic saga that unfolds across the realm of Orstera. So I actually thought that this was just a re-release of Octopath Traveler, but yet it is Octopath Traveler 0, so it's a prequel to Octopath Traveler. This new entry into the series brings all new features and returning core elements from the series, including the HD 2D graphics, blah, 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 blah. Path actions to interact with other characters in various ways, the break and boost battle system, which can turn the tide of battle, and more. So there you go. That's pretty cool there. So if you want to check out any of the things from this direct, they're all on Nintendo of America and other places, YouTube channels. I am most excited for Once Upon a Katamari. I think that's pretty clear. And I know that there was a lot of people who were like, oh, I guess it was just like a decent showcase at best, which I know is kind of like, yeah, I get it. As the first direct in the Switch 2 era, like maybe they could have done a bit more. Maybe they could have shown off some more Switch 2 titles or whatever. But I think in general, for it being like split between Switch 1 and Switch 2, I think it was a decent showcase at best. And it had some stuff that I was pretty excited for. Pac-Man, Katamari, fuck, I'm blanking on what I just read. I'm having streamer brain right now. Just Dance, yeah, I'm really excited about that. Plants vs. Zombies and stuff like that. I feel like in general, this was like a good, well-rounded partner showcase. But, once again, I'm only one person, so, that's just my opinion. Also, a lot of people were disappointed that they didn't show off Silksong, but we just heard that Silksong was going to be in the next like Xbox partner showcase, so we'll probably see it there. And there's also going to be like a playable version of Silksong, I believe, in the near future. We'll see what all that's about. So anyway, the partner direct, I'll give that like a B-. I was fine with it. I thought it was pretty good. Although I didn't have any expectations going into it, so it's not like I was sorely missing like a certain thing like Silksong. So, but there you go. And then as well this week, THQ Nordic had a showcase, which we knew about, but I kind of forgot that it was coming because the Nintendo Direct kind of overshadowed it. But I think they showed off some pretty fun things here. They started off the show with David Hasselhoff singing a song about the new 3D SpongeBob game called SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide. If you don't know, they've been making more 3D SpongeBob games. They had the one from like a couple years ago, which was pretty good, and then they had like the remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom, which was decent. And this looks like it's continuing that formula of 3D SpongeBob. I think that they changed this one up a bit because you can actually switch between SpongeBob and Patrick on the fly, and they have like different things to them, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I mean, these SpongeBob 3D games, are they anything to like really get super excited about? Maybe not, but I think they're still good fun, and they're good kids games, and they're good fun. And I think the whole like David Hasselhoff, singing about it, I thought that was really fun. A big throwback to the SpongeBob movie where he showed up in it. And they also had some pre-order bonuses, like you can get Patrick naked as a pre-order bonus. Like, who doesn't want that? SpongeBob Titans of the Tide launches November 18th. There is a deluxe edition that includes a steelbook, a golden spatula keychain, 5 lenticular cards, a Flying Dutchman sew on pack, and the title season pass, along with the natural costume pack, including Patrick being completely nude and SpongeBob having his buttocks being shown off. There is also going to be a Switch 2 version of this game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a game key card, but there is a Switch 2 version along with the other, PS5 and Xbox Series X. So there you go, and PC. Next up, they showed a game called Recreation. This is a Burnout-inspired game where you race cars on a track. You ram into each other. You ram them into other cars. You ram them into oncoming traffic. You ram them into trees, and they wreck out and they got to respawn. This is coming in. Well, they didn't say when it was coming, but you can wishlist it now. It is coming to the various platforms like PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Personally, I've been wanting a Burnout type game since Burnout Paradise, the remaster, came out way back when. So hopefully this is going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. You can also build your own tracks if you want to in this as well. So there you go, Recreation. Tides of Tomorrow. We already knew about this one. This is this game where you like choose your fate or whatever. You have it's like a multiplayer experience where you can see what other people decide to do. So it's a bit weird of a concept, but kind of an interesting idea. So if you want to check that out, it looks interesting. I like the art style for the game. I like the idea of the game. That is coming February 24th, 2026. Wreckfest 2 got a new trailer. We already knew about this one, but Wreckfest 2 did get a new trailer. They will be doing an early access on PC soon, and there will also be a PS5 and Xbox Series X version of that as well at a later date. But Wreckfest is a good time. I enjoyed the original Wreckfest. I thought it was pretty fun. Wreckfest 2 looks pretty good. I'll have to wait and see what people say about the early access. I don't think I'm going to buy the early access, but when they do eventually down the road release the full game, I'll probably be there for it. I enjoyed Wreckfest 1, and the Flat Out series is one of my favorites, from back in the day as well. Sacred 2 is getting a remaster called Sacred 2 Remaster. You'll step into the world of Ankaria as one of 6 heroes, explore a massive open world, master the combat arts and spells for epic loot. This remaster brings a fan favorite back to life with high-res textures, better combat, and bug fixes for longtime fans and newcomers alike. So this kind of reminds me of like Two Worlds 2 or something like that, right? Obviously, the remaster looks decent, but this isn't like a game that I'm really interested in. But if you're excited about that, Sacred 2 Remaster, it is coming. It doesn't say when it's coming, but you can wishlist it now. I feel like every single showcase has this game, The Eternal Life of Goldman. This is the 2D platformer Metroidvania type game, all hand drawn, where he plays an old man with a cane, and the cane can do many different things. I've talked about this game a couple times. I don't think I need to reiterate anything, but that is coming soon as well. Titan Quest 2 was shown off here. The Maori have woven a long and winding thread, but fate no longer hides the shadows. The wait is over. Titan Quest 2 has arrived in early access on the Epic Game Store and Steam. Step into the world of myth and monsters. Your journey begins today. So I guess, the open early access period has started now. It's like a Diablo-type game, maybe with some more Greek mythology in there, but it is a Diablo-type game, if you want to check that out. The Guild, Europa 1410. This is a new strategic game coming from THQ. I don't know if these live action scenes will be in the game, but I thought that was a pretty nice touch for the trailer, having the live action stuff in there. I don't think these scenes will be in the game, but it would be kind of cool. Essentially, it's inspired by Europa 1400, The Guild. You'll start a modest business, grow your dynasty, and shape your legacy through trade, politics, and intrigue. So it's a bit of a strategy game. You build a town, you elect officials and stuff like that. Kind of an interesting concept. Does not have a release date. They showed off the Gothic remake, and this is coming early 2026. It looks good. For what it's worth, the Gothic remake is looking good. I just don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm going to get it, though. It looks good, though. What can I say? It looks good. I'm just not interested in it. That's just me. But, if you are interested in that, it is coming 2026, early 2026. Alongside that, they announced that the Gothic 2 Complete Classic is coming, along with the rest of the trilogy. So that Gothic Classic Trilogy is coming to PlayStation and Xbox consoles in 2026 as well. So if you want to play the original version of the games, or if you want to play the original version of the game, you can play this trilogy. That's coming to PlayStation and Xbox. I don't know if it's already available on PC, but there you go. There's that. They had a trailer for Reanimal, which was pretty good. This is coming Q1 of 2026. Reanimal is looking pretty crazy. There's a little bit of combat in there, a little bit of puzzle solving, much like the Little Nightmares series. But yeah, this looks really good. I think this one just has a bit of a more horror vibe to it. Like, I know that Little Nightmares is a horror game, but Reanimal kind of seems to be taking it to the next level, and I like that. I like that a lot. So Q1 of 2026 is when Reanimal is coming. There's also going to be a collector's edition of the game, which will include 2 statues. It's going to be a bit of a pricey one, but I think it might be worth it for people who are fans of this. They also revealed that there is going to be a Switch 2 version of the game as well. The deluxe edition is going to include an art book, stickers, a pig PVC statue, a Buckethead PVC mini statue, a keychain, an exclusive box, the season pass with pre-order DLC, and also a map poster of the, I guess, the world that you're going to be going to. So that's pretty cool, too. A game called Fate Keeper. This is coming in early access on PC in winter. This is like a first-person action game. Kind of has some pretty crazy gore in there. Like, this one guy gets his head chopped in half, which seemed pretty cool. But yeah, it's the first-person fantasy RPG with reactive combat, rich progression, and a handcrafted world. This is coming, like I said, this is coming to early access on PC in winter. I mean, if it really is as detailed as this trailer, might be a pretty cool experience. Kind of reminds me of like that VR game where, like, the Swordsman VR game or whatever, where the enemies kind of react to where you hit them. But yeah, we'll see what that's like when that does come out. Graphically looks very impressive, so that's a plus for it already. And then finally, at the end of the whole thing, they announced that Darksiders 4 is either now in production or coming soon. But this was a long time waiting. They're bringing back all 4 of the horsemen and women to this game, which I don't know if that means we're going to be able to play as all 4 of them, but all 4 of them from all 4 of the games that came out, yes, including Darksiders Genesis. They will all be available. I guess they'll all be in the game in some capacity. So you can wishlist that now. I believe it's set to come out soon, but it could just be like a, hey, we're working on this type of thing, because they didn't show a release date or anything for it. It just said wishlist now. So yeah, in general, the THQ Nordic Showcase was good. I enjoyed what I saw. There was a lot of cool things in there. Probably give it like a B. Can't complain too much about this one. The standout here was, of course, Reanimal. But Fate Keeper was pretty cool. The SpongeBob game was a pretty fun opening. And there's a lot of other things sprinkled in there for everyone else who liked other genres. So there you go. I told you this was going to be a long haul today, folks, and we're still going. Battlefield 6. Oh, Battlefield 6 was officially revealed this past weekend, and they showed off a lot of gameplay in the reveal trailer. They showed off the destruction capabilities, that there's going to be 4 classes again, the support, assault, sniper, and engineer. So all those classes are back, and they all have their own unique things to them. Once again, it's very much modeled after like Battlefield 4 and or Bad Company 2, which I really, really like. They also said that they are not going to go skin crazy. The skins are going to be, if they do add skins in there, they said that they were going to be very much like a militaristic type thing. It's not going to be like crazy off the wall stuff. They also said that the EA app was not going to be needed to play the game. So that's pretty cool as well. So you might be saying like, oh, they only showed off some gameplay, during the trailers. Yeah, that's not that big of a deal. They had Twitch streamers playing the game, like just fully playing the game. They had a map. They had a couple maps they could play on that they could play as any of the classes. And I watched way more Tim the Tatman than I've ever watched in my entire life. Actually, I've never watched him before in my life, but that was the first stream that popped up when he typed in Battlefield 6 right next to the Battlefield 6 promotion page, and I just watched him play it for like at hours, like 2 hours straight. It looks very good. And I know a lot of people are saying like, "Hey, don't pre-order this one." Blah 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 blah. Look, I get it. Not a lot of people liked Battlefield 2042. They said they got burned on that one. I felt like I got burned on that one from the get-go as well. But the fact of the matter remains that even though it was not a great Battlefield game, it was still a good Battlefield game. At the end of the day, when all was said and done, they did all the updates they needed to the game. They made the game much more playable and much more player friendly. Boom, bada bing. It was great. I enjoyed my time with Battlefield 2042. So all these people saying don't pre-order this game, don't pre-order this game, I think they forget that like Battlefield 2042 ended up being a good experience, and Battlefield 6 is already looking to be a good experience. Like there's been gameplay. There's going to be a closed alpha, I believe next weekend, and you can get access to that by watching someone play Battlefield 6 for just an hour, which is great. And then there's going to be open betas for 2 more weekends after that. So you'll be able to play this game a total of 3 times across 3 different weekends before the game comes out. And the game is coming out on the 10th of October. It is not even that far away. We are literally only like 2 months removed from playing Battlefield 6 for fully. On top of that, there's a campaign mode in this one, along with a completely redone Battlefield Portal mode, which looks a lot better than what it was before. Fully customizable maps, almost the same detail and maybe even more detail than the Halo Infinite map creator or whatever that was. I am very excited for this. And fuck it, I'm probably going to pre-order it because it looks good. And if I like when I play the game, if I like what I see, I will be sold. If I don't like what I'm playing, then I'll just cancel my pre-order. Like, it's just as simple as that. I understand that people are apprehensive about pre-ordering games nowadays. I'm not sure exactly why, because you can always back out of a pre-order. You don't even have to, like, you can take the money out of the out of it. Like, you can cancel the pre-order and get your money back at any time. So like, I know people are like, "Oh, you're supporting them before the game comes out. You're buying the game before it actually comes out." I get it. I get the argument, but also at the same time, like, your money is kind of like in limbo when you're pre-ordering a game. Like I actually used to use GameStop as like a bit of a bank type thing back in the day when I was a kid. Like I would put like $20 on this game, $20 on that game, $20 on that game. And when a game came out, I would be like, well, okay, I guess I'll take like $15 off of this game and put it on this and on the one that I'm buying today. So it would be less in general. And then I would occasionally add money to the other games as I went there. So I've never been adverse to pre-ordering. Like there are times where I have definitely not wanted to pre-order something because I don't know how the quality is going to be. Killing Floor 3 is a great representation of that because there was a lot of weird things being said about that alpha that they did for the game, and I didn't know if the game was going to be what I wanted it to be, so I didn't pre-order the game, but I eventually bought it, like day one, and yeah, I mean it was great. So I feel like out of all the games that you could say I am confident in a pre-order for this, I think Battlefield 6 is one of those games. The Battlefield series really hasn't given us that many stinkers. Like, I feel like most Battlefield games are at least good. Battlefield Hardline, I had a lot of fun with the multiplayer on that one. Even though the campaign was not that good, the multiplayer was actually really good on that game. A bit slimmed down from a normal Battlefield experience, but I thought it was still good. Battlefield 1 is a classic. A lot of people love that game. Battlefield 5... not that crazy about that game, but I put a lot of hours into it. Gritty Waffles and I, and even Callus were playing that game a lot. Wake Island, Yemmy. Wake Island! Wake Island, Yemmy! Wake Island! Yes, what a great experience. At the end of the day, I think Battlefield 5, even though it didn't like deliver on all the fronts that I wanted it to, it was still a good experience. And I can say the same thing about Battlefield 2042. I know that might be sacrilegious to say, maybe some blasphemy in there, but at the end of the day, when all was said and done, Battlefield 2042 was a good Battlefield experience at the end of the day. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I had fun with the game. I played that to completion. Well, not completion, but I played until I maxed out my character, and even then I played more. I think the inherent Battlefield experience is fun, and this game has everything that you want inside of it. A campaign, groundbreaking graphics, massive multiplayer maps, etc., etc. They're going to have Conquest, Breakthrough, Rush, which are all really good game modes. Team Deathmatch, Squad Team Deathmatch, classic game modes, Domination, King of the Hill, and a new mode called Escalation. There's going to be 9 multiplayer maps day one, and I'm sure that those will be chopped up for the other modes as well. Destruction is back to levels of Battlefield 4. Even I was even comparing it to Bad Company 2 at times, because you could literally level the playing field from what they showed, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, that's the most destruction we've had in quite some time. The maps look immaculate. Like the Brooklyn map, I mean, they opened up a door in that one reveal trailer, and it just looked like you were in Brooklyn. I was like blown away by that. I'm like, damn, that looks really, really good. So it really does feel like they took all that Battlefield 2042 criticism and they put it into the right place. They learned from it and they actually did something with that criticism. They're not just farting out another Battlefield game and calling it a day. They really put their time into this game, and I think that from what I've seen through gameplay and the reveal trailers, I think that we are getting a class act, a superb Battlefield game here. And I think that all of the animosity towards the series in general is a bit misplaced. The only thing that I would say don't pre-order that deluxe edition that gives you access to the game like 2 days early or a week early. I think that's a scummy gaming practice. It's a scam. It really is. Don't pre-order that version of the game, even though it's going to be mighty tempting to do that. Don't do that, because it's just Battlefield is the one that started that. I mean, back in the day, Battlefield 3 came out and they were like 2-day early access for $10 more, and now it's like a week extra access for like $50 more or $30 more. It's like, okay, come on now. I won't lie. I was tempted to get the deluxe edition. I did not do that though, but I was tempted because I'm very excited for this. Look, I was already kind of excited when they announced like Battlefield 6 was coming out. They're going back to modern combat, et cetera, et cetera. But of course, people are going to be a bit apprehensive. They're going to be a bit like, hey, don't get too hyped because we haven't really seen anything about it yet. Well, now we've seen a lot about the game. We've seen actual gameplay, people playing it. Obviously, it's in a controlled environment, but I mean, these people are playing the game. They're not being held back by restrictions or anything. They're just playing the game as they would, and it looked great. It really did. And I know I'm just sounding like a fanboy at this point, but to be honest, I love the Battlefield series. I've usually had more fun with the Battlefield series than Call of Duty in the past. Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, superb Battlefield experiences that I will remember for the rest of my life. I love those games so much. The other games in the series, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 1945, was it, or whatever? Battlefield 20. What was the one that's like super future? Was that 25? See, I'm starting to forget because it's been so long since that game. But there was 20, 24, 20, whatever that one was with the mechs. That was awesome. Battlefield Hardline, I still think it's like a fun experience. Like I don't think that's a bad game at all. I mean, it's not like a Battlefield, like a full-blown Battlefield game, but it was a fun game. It was a fun little like toned down game. Battlefield 5 ended up being really fun, with the expansions and stuff like that. And Battlefield 2042 ended up becoming more fun with the updates and more playable with the updates. So I think in general, it's a good idea for them to go back to modern combat. It's a great idea to have the portal redone from the ground up. It's a great idea to add campaign back in. They're bringing back Murphy, everyone fan favorite character from Battlefield 4. And I think that the multiplayer looks back to basics, but just where it needs to be. And, if being hyped for Battlefield 6 brings me hate, so be it. Hate me all you want. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be playing this game day one. Well, I guess technically day one is going to be like October 7th or whatever. But still, I'll be playing this game officially on October 10th. And I am hoping, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to love this game. Like I said, there's going to be 2 open betas for this game. So you can try the game out and see if it's something that you want to play. And if you don't like what you feel, if you don't like what you play, then don't pre-order it. Don't buy it. But if you like what you play, I think there's going to be a lot more pre-orders for this game once those betas come out. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I'm hyped for Battlefield 6. Sorry. I guess I'm just a gamer. Guess I'm just a fan of the series. Sorry. You can tell I'm a bit frustrated with some of the stuff going around right now. I apologize. Let's move on. Okay, so PlayStation Plus games for August have been announced, and they are Lies of P, DayZ, and My Hero 1's Justice 2. Lies of P, excellent game, a great get for PlayStation Plus members. If you have not played Lies of P yet, it's a fantastic experience. The new DLC came out, which is also pretty good. I was watching Odom K, a friend of the channel, play it. Looked very good. My Hero 1's Justice 2, I don't know what this is. It's an anime game. I believe it's based around My Hero Academia or the sequel to that series. I don't know. Don't burn me down. I don't know. And then DayZ is, it's an open world, like, post-apocalyptic game. I think it's, like, set after the zombie apocalypse. So, like, there's no zombies, but it's a lot of people, like, running around and trying to survive. I think it's, like, a massive multiplayer game, right? But this one's been around for quite some time. This is the PS4 version. I don't believe there's a PS5 version of the game, but there you go. So I think in general, like, this month of PlayStation Plus games, pretty good. I mean, Lies of P is an excellent get, and DayZ is, I guess, is a bit of a classic at this point. Not so sure about that My Hero 1's Justice 2. That'll probably be a game I play just to kind of boost my number of games played this year, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's going to be super long or anything like that. It looks like it's just a fighting game, I think. But there you go. And then finally for today, folks, 3 games leaving Xbox Game Pass in August. So on August 15th, all 3 of these games are going to be leaving both console, PC, and cloud. And they are Anthem. Oh, no. Not Anthem. Farming Simulator 22. No! Not Farming Simulator 22, man. That's the best one. And Persona 3 Reload, which is actually a kind of bad timing for that. I don't know. I played a bit of Persona 3 Reload when it first came to the Xbox Game Pass. I'm just not that big into these JRPG type games, but if you want to finish that game off or play a little bit of it before it leaves the service, these games will be gone on August 15th. So make sure you play those before then. Personally, I will be playing some Anthem before that gets fully shut down. So you know where I'll be in the next couple days here. I'm not playing not playing this version, but you know what I mean. Okay, it's been a long episode, folks. I appreciate you sticking around with me for so long. I hope that I have brought you an interesting and epic episode of the Fair 64 podcast. Let's go ahead and do Guess That Song. If you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, I will give you a heart and a congratulations in the comments below, whether it be on YouTube or Spotify. And if you're in the Discord, link down in the description below, you can also comment in the Fair 64 section, and I will give you a super reaction, and you will get the admiration of your peers. Let's go ahead and listen to today's song right now. All right, once again, if you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, let me know in the places that I told you to. All right, folks, not trying to make this any longer than it needs to be at this point, but if you want to follow me on either platform, it's all at Yemmy the Ferret on Twitch. We're streaming on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, usually. We are playing Sonic Frontiers as our final Sonic Summer game. Once we're done with that, we're going to be moving on to some regular stuff until October comes around. Also, I do another podcast called Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We've recently talked about Ocean's 11, and the next movie that we're going to talk about is The Breakfast Club. So if you want to check that out, that'll be available next weekend. It's a bi-weekly podcast. Also, Fubar Ferret is getting new episodes. That's every month. Latest episode just came out. If you want to check that out, it's a more comedic type podcast. At least I think it's funny. Can't say if anyone else finds it funny. I think it's funny. All right, folks. Have a great rest of your day or great rest of your week. I appreciate you listening once again, If you want to slap a like on the podcast or rate me out of 5 stars on Spotify or put a review on Apple Podcasts, I would very much appreciate that. Or just come to the Discord and say, hey, I really enjoyed that podcast. I specifically really enjoyed insert part of the podcast here. Maybe you really loved my Battlefield 6 thoughts. Maybe you thought that my opinions on Wuchang Fallen Feathers were big L's. Let me know. I appreciate all and every comment, and I try to respond to everyone, at least with a heart. Anyway, I am Yemmy the Ferret. I'll talk at you next week. So long.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.